The next wave of technologies that I would probably touch are going to be related to AI, artificial intelligence, and advances in machine learning and deep learning. It's probably going to have a significant impact in the kinds of things I do right now. I think my skills may not be needed in 10 years, but then by that time I would have emerged into a new field to kind of complement the then current capabilities. It's so fascinating and it's so exciting what's going to happen with wearable technologies, with injectables, with personalized medicine and ubiquitous computing. We're going to have to see a lot more smart things around us that could measure things for us and much more informed decisions, data-driven decisions in medicine. Remote monitoring is a big piece of it. That's the lowest hanging fruit right now, to at least take care of people who don't take care of themselves, which unfortunately is a problem in rural areas, in underserved areas.
Howdy, everybody, and welcome to Work Factor, sponsored by the Texas A&M Center for Worker Health. I am Adam Pickens.
And I'm Martha Parker.
And today we are here with Dr. Farzan Sasangohar.
Howdy.
So you're a faculty member in Industrial and Systems Engineering,
That
correct?
is correct, yes.
Yeah. So what rank are you, associate or full?
I'm an associate professor, got promoted 2 years ago, and tenured.
Okay, so you got a little bit of time before you going up for full.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you do, what your research is, what those interests are.
So if I wanted to sum up what I do, I integrate a lot of technologies into healthcare systems to improve worker health, reduce stressors, environmental stressors, improve occupational health. And most recently, I have a lot of emphasis on mental health and wellness.
Oh, okay.
For healthcare workers.
For healthcare workers.
Specifically. Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So like in big hospital systems, in small clinics,
right.
rural, does it matter?
Wide range.
Right, okay.
So big hospital systems, well-served, also underserved clinics and populations, a wide range.
Okay.
And also special populations like combat veterans who are considered underserved.
Okay.
Or aging populations or pediatric populations, special populations that have unique needs and expectations.
I would imagine going into healthcare and you're looking at special populations, so to speak. I would assume the list of special populations is pretty long. I mean,
enormous.
Yeah.
It's enormous. And I tried to touch on a few that I could connect more, and actually started my career. My career here at Texas A&M started with trying to solve a problem for combat veterans and PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And then they got me into other vulnerable populations, especially when it comes to mental health. And then I started looking into nurses. I started looking into offshore workers. So it kind of expanded from there. And I saw a lot of similarities, a lot of patterns with the kinds of things I could do with my research to help.
So your first one was with combat veterans and PTSD. And I think I remember that was an app. Was it an app-based thing? Describe that.
Yes. So actually met in this same building with few faculty in public health. And this is beginning of my career as a professor. And we've been discussing opportunities with the Veterans Affairs, with the VA, to deal with this gap in care for veterans. Seems like, they're very well taken care of while they're in healthcare facilities. But what about when they're not in a healthcare facility? When they're on their own, there's this issue with emotional numbness and unfortunately issues with people not taking care of themselves. So I thought human factors engineering could help. My background could come in with developing user-centered technologies that could help monitoring continuously and remotely, and then intervening also remotely when it matters. So that started my journey.
So what were you monitoring?
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I have a combat veteran husband,
of course,
who has suffered from PTSD.
Yeah.
So, and I've been the monitor. I don't want to do that anymore. So what were you monitoring and how were you intervening?
Mostly hyperarousal events.
Okay.
So PTSD hyperarousals have a very strong signature. They could range from a very strong panic attack all the way to blackout events. So
I didn't realize it was that wide of a range.
It could be, it could be very serious.
Wow. Okay.
It could completely disable the the person who's experiencing it.
Wow.
So
Okay.
the idea was if we can detect using non-intrusive sensors some of these patterns in physiology that are associated with hyperarousal.
Mhm.
If you can detect it in heart rate patterns, in accelerometer, a combination of sensors that come in non-intrusive variables.
Right.
And that's something that actually led me to believe for mental health, it has to be very discreet. It has to be very non-intrusive.
Mhm.
So we went after smartwatches, technologies that don't shout, hey, I have a mental health issue,
Yeah.
and focused on that. And that makes it very difficult because these tools are not top-notch medical grade sensors.
Right.
There's a lot of noise.
They're for the consumer.
That's for the consumer,
Yep.
exactly,
Yeah.
not for
Mhm.
research. So we had to actually push the boundaries of research in this area to get rid of that noise,
Mhm.
to get the cleanest inference out of this very noisy data set, to be able to make conclusions, come up with conclusions, and kind of close the loop right then
Mhm.
with some interventions.
And you were able to take your population and combat veterans and then apply what you learned to healthcare workers and all of that because they experience some of the same, it's different, but maybe some of the same levels of trauma in their work or whatever they're seeing every day, first responders, EMS folks, all that. Right?
Absolutely. There's
Okay.
a lot of similarities. You wouldn't believe how common PTSD is among healthcare workers, among kids.
Mm-hmm.
All of us, honestly. It's
Mhm.
1 in 10 Americans going to experience a major traumatic event in their lifetime. It could be an accident. It could be from childhood memories. So PTSD is very common,
Mm-hmm.
but especially occupations where trauma is happening on a daily basis. You
Right.
see death, you see injuries,
Mhm.
and nursing certainly one of those.
Well, and it's kind of to the point. You and I had actually spoken about this in a meeting here not long ago about the death scene investigators. You know, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when we say healthcare, healthcare isn't just in the hospitals and in the clinics. Healthcare goes way beyond.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's fascinating. Awesome. So what are you doing now?
Yeah. So what's
Sure.
your cutting edge?
What's your
awesome
latest
stuff?
technology wizardry?
Of course. So currently we have a portfolio of projects expanding this detection, monitoring, intervention to college students. So college student mental health is something I've been very passionate about. I've been personally affected by mental health issues. I know a lot of my students have been affected who talk to me. I've been very passionate about this problem, and I was passionate enough to get myself certified for mental
Really?
health care. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Excellent.
So we started looking into these technologies, now detecting a wider range of anxiety. In the family of anxiety issues, obviously there's student anxiety. And we tried to see if we can find patterns that are uniquely associated with student anxiety or high levels of stress. And we ended up designing some really nice technologies. We're testing those right now on our campus. They're very nice. They not only detect, so we kind of push the science of detection and expand in that, but now we're also into digital health and we're building expertise. We're trying to be the world leader in digital health at Texas A&M.
Okay.
And that involves closing the loop. Once you detect something meaningful, what do you do with that?
That's right.
How do you involve them in a meaningful interaction? So we designed a suite of products, digital health products, digital interventions for mental health, which includes professional care.
Okay.
So our tool is not connected into our mental health care infrastructure. So you can see somebody in as quickly as 30 minutes
Wow.
on telehealth.
Wow.
Or you can book somebody as soon as you want. So it's all not connected through, our infrastructure. So it's a very nice integrated system that's now in testing.
So I'm someone who this is completely out of my realm. I have no background, no knowledge base.
And you have no mental health issues
no,
either.
I don't. I'm completely fine. And as I told my students yesterday in class, because we did the e-colors thing, I don't have a lot of interpersonal skills, and so it's kind of a stretch for me. But as somebody who kind of has that background, what are some of you said that I forget the term you used, but the kind of family, I think you said family of anxieties. As far as college students, what are some of the things in that family of anxieties that college students are dealing with?
There's a wide range, and the most problematic ones are anxiety. It's anxiety that you can diagnose medically, clinically. Depression, unfortunately, is a common issue. Although we try to not touch depression because the bio signals of depression are a completely different beast that we haven't really studied. They don't necessarily affect things like heart rate or heart variability, as compared to heart rate or heart variability, which you see much more pronounced patterns that are identifiable. But the reality,
from a data perspective,
Yeah.
that's
for data
a lot
perspective,
easier
absolutely,
to kinda-
signal processing
Yeah.
of physiological data is much easier on the stress anxiety than
Yes.
is for depression.
Because it's usually slower coming on, slower activating, slower. And so there is a lot of noise I would think in a physiological
You could
kind
be
of depressive
experiencing
signal.
significant depression issues while looking cool like a cucumber.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't even tell. So it's a much more significant problem to address. But unfortunately, it's one of the significant ones among very common and prevalent among college students.
Wow, that's really as a faculty member, it's good for me to know these things. I feel like I should know more about that. So.
Yes. And if you want to know more about it, make sure you like, share, and subscribe down below. For the center, you can contact any of us there. You can go to our website, check us out on LinkedIn, and also go to our Environmental and Occupational Health Department website as well within the School of Public Health. How would students get involved with you?
Absolutely.
And what would you have them do?
Yeah. There are many
ask them
ways
to do.
they can get engaged with this research. In fact, this project, the student mental health, is a very popular project among students, especially undergraduate students, which makes me feel, they can connect with the problem and, they passionately approach it.
Yeah.
We have a wide range of engagements. We have students who volunteer, just want to get their feet wet with research and learn more and contribute meaningfully. We have students who are taking research courses that I offer at the College of Engineering, at my department, and they can get credit for the effort they're putting in. We have students who are employed to do research because they have certain skills that we really need. Obviously, degree granting students are a big part of this. PhD students, master's students who are interested in the problem, who have skill sets in human factors engineering, signal processing, data analytics these days. We're at the intersection of data science and human factors, really, with the amount of data we're getting and these new methods we need to develop to deal with a very messy, noisy data set.
Yeah, well, and determine what's important.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you get it all. And researchers love it all, but that doesn't mean it's all useful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's a nice intersection that draws from different interests: public health, human factors, industrial engineering, and data science.
Yeah. So have opportunities, both paid and unpaid. So you kind of mentioned it's a pretty broad swath of talent and skill sets that you're looking for. Is it primarily lab based? Are there any field opportunities?
Of course. So we almost always have a study ongoing. So students want...
That's what every researcher wants to be able to say.
That's right. So if you really want to be engaged in research and you want to see it kind of firsthand, there's an opportunity to get involved in data collection, to get involved in the everyday running of the study and logistics of it, to look at the data that's coming. And a lot of the systems we're using now for research are connected, meaning, even though we do a 1-month study with college students, we don't wait until 1 month to get the data. We get data every day just to make sure there's compliance and people follow the protocols we put in front of them. So there's opportunities for data analysis on a daily basis, getting engaged in data collection and running these studies. Being a participant in the study, in my opinion, is the best way to learn research. If you have your research lens on and then participate. So we have some students who just participate, but then we give them an extra task of documenting issues, doing a diary study on top of being a participant. So they become researcher participants. And that's such a meaningful way of getting engaged. Mm-hmm. So there are various ways of doing it.
Excellent. So there's 2 things I want to touch on. So I want to come back to a diary study. I don't know what that is, but you made a great point. This opportunity of participation and then moving from participation into, the back end of it. I would be willing to bet that all three of us sitting here, that's probably the way that we got started. We got recruited into a lab, saw really how great it was and how amazing the stuff that they're doing it is, and it really spoke to us. And then we moved beyond subject into,
Absolutely.
The next role.
The next role, yeah.
At least that's how I started my graduate school career and research.
Me too.
Yeah, I wasn't. Are you interested in the story?
Yeah, well, heck
absolutely.
yeah.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah,
I did an
all
exchange
the time in the
study.
world.
We got an exchange study semester in Sweden, and I was an undergraduate student in computer science back then, and so I took a few courses in grad school there because I couldn't find anything I was interested in the undergraduate curriculum. And one course I took was human-computer interaction, obviously HCI. And so I got exposed to usability testing, and we visited places like Volvo labs. And, there I just noticed, wow, you bring in 5 people into a lab, you put something in front of them, and amazingly, there's so much insight coming out of that, one day with just 5 people.
Yeah.
And that was mind-blowing. So I was so into it. So when I came back to my home university, I wanted to do it. I wanted to do research. So I found somebody who did it. And here I am with 3 masters and a PhD after that. And now I'm a faculty doing it full time.
I think it's a great story to tell. I think a lot of students and a lot of people just in general need to hear that. Like, if you find something that you're really interested in, pursue it. Like, go find somebody. Like, I tell students all the time, because I do the interns here, don't just send one email.
Right.
Send an email, call, follow up. Like, you've got to actually pursue the thing that you're interested in.
Yeah, and I think faculty are approachable. I mean, I think for some reason students are a little bit shy to approach, but faculty are approachable. They're open to these kind of discussions. We actively look for these discussions.
Well, and
that's
especially
why we're in it.
What we do, we're dealing with people.
Yeah.
It pays to be approachable, right? Because our end result is helping the worker or helping the person.
Yeah.
We can't not be approachable.
Exactly.
Yeah. We have to be outside the walls of academia at some point.
So what's your story, Pickens? How did you go from participant to researcher?
Very similar. There was a study that was being conducted while I was getting my master's, and I was a participant. I went in, I did some ergonomics, it was some lifting stuff. And I thought, you know what? Because at the time I was wanting to be an orthopedic surgeon. And I thought, you know what? This is way cooler. Like, I get to do stuff. I don't have to be in the OR. I don't have to have crazy hours, all that stuff. And I thought, I can do this. And then
there you go.
I went on from there, and I started looking into safety, and I did some safety projects with our our shared mentor,
yes,
Dr. Congleton. And, from there, it was just one thing after the next. The studies got bigger, the questions got bigger, and then just, and and then I walked away from it all just to teach. So,
but you're still involved.
I'm still involved,
especially in the center.
Yes, very much in the center.
Yes.
What is a diary?
Diary study.
Diary study.
Absolutely. Diary study is very simple. So it's a structured documentation of X, and the X could be a construct of interest. Like, you describe your stress today. You have a few Likert skills that are more kind of a valid assessment of that construct. There are open-ended questions about your experience today. But in our case, because we have a new technology we're testing, the diary study is focusing on struggles, barriers, things that are liked on a daily basis interacting with this technology, because there are so many features and functions. It's really difficult to do a lump sum exit study, interview. Usually people forget.
Yeah.
But on a daily basis, if you have a diary study where people note things they're noticing, and we also have some measurements, then you have solid data that could actually feed back into design or redesign.
And so you found a pretty good matching of the self-report, I guess, in the diary study to what the whatever your data
Absolutely.
says.
This is a popular method in UX, in user experience and usability. And the reason being, for a lot of reasons, we can't read what's going on in there
Right.
yet. I wish we had a scan kind of telling us,
I don't
what's
know
happening.
if we want to.
Exactly.
I don't know.
I know. But, you can ask, and that's the only way. That's the only valid way right now. And because we're prone to memory loss and we always forget and we get biased after the event, so we may say, oh, it wasn't that important anyways. We want to catch it as quickly as we can.
Yeah.
And the best way to do it is these diary studies, especially for a longitudinal study that runs over days.
Yeah.
It's good to document as we go.
Well, and I would imagine that you would have, kind of retrospect, it wasn't that big a deal. Or similarly, you look back and it was a way bigger deal. And I would assume you would have both ends of the spectrum, because Martha and I were talking about something earlier before we started recording. And in the moment, I was really upset about something. And now as I look back at it, I'm like, that's not that big a deal, And so, but I would imagine in your study, you need to know it was a big deal in that moment.
Absolutely, because things like stress and anxiety, they're momentary. They're not always existent, right? So you need to catch them when they happen. And that's when we study that moment in time in terms of physiological reactions. But then sometimes it's not possible, or you want a different way of measuring, so you can do triangulation.
Right.
And, in science, you rarely want to just rely on one or two methods. You want
One and done.
Yeah, you want to do many methods. And if they're all telling you the same thing, chances are there's ground truth in it. So you can trust it. It's reliable. So on top of the sensors, if you could have some self-reported measures like this, so people report, hey, today I had a rough day. During that time, I was thinking, and, bad thoughts came to my mind. And then we matched that with our data, which also caught those moments objectively. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
And you have reliable data.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So real quick, we'll get back to this in just one second, but I want to let our audience know that you have an opportunity to win a free ergonomic eval from the ergonomist in our center. Just click the link in the description. It takes you to a form that you'll fill out, and it's a drawing, right?
That's right.
Full on drawing, a randomized drawing.
Of course.
Okay, of
Yeah.
course. And if you get selected, one of the ergonomists from our center will come and we will perform a workplace eval on whatever your workplace is.
What is the craziest thing you have seen out in the field? Like you walked away from that experience and thought, I cannot believe it happens this way. What is that?
Related to research?
Yeah. Or anything.
Oh, anything is
Or
easy.
anything.
There are many crazy things. In the
Yeah.
world,
So
right?
give me anything.
Okay, I can give you that
Yeah,
because the work one is hard. Craziest thing I've seen. Okay, this is tough, but I'm going to give you one. It was the World Championship for wife carrying in Finland. This thing, you have to see it.
Oh, is it like husband calling in the Midwest?
Sort of, but it's like they carry their wives like a backpack.
You have to carry like a back. You need skills. I'm telling you, it's difficult, and you have to go through very challenging course and obstacles.
So did you see this? Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Wow,
That's manual material handling of a different sort.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. We ought to put that in our link.
Yeah.
It's really nice experience, but it's a crazy thing.
So Martha, I'll turn it around to you. You spent a lot of time in the field.
Mm-hmm.
I'll limit it to your field experience.
Okay, so I think one of I was honored and also a little petrified. Part of what I did as a consultant, and I went in and did ergonomic evaluations mainly in the office. And so over years, really, you develop relationships with people. So I developed this relationship with this one woman and watched her kids grow up and all that. And her daughter turned 16 and I had a daughter, but she was probably 8 at the time. And I guess I was such a fantastic ergonomist that this woman says, hey, will you come over this weekend and teach my daughter how to drive? I just can't do it. It makes me so stressed. And I was like, I don't know what makes you think I'm a great driving instructor. She goes, but you're so nice and you've taught me everything there is to know about ergonomics. You are bound to be able to teach. Yes, you are bound to be able to teach my daughter how to drive and not kill her like I would.
Okay.
And I was like, wow. So again, I walked away honored because I thought, wow, what an impression. And two,
yeah.
that is freaking scary. Someone puts their daughter's life in my hands behind the wheel of a death machine. So yeah, that's probably my weirdest work.
So
One.
I've got a similar story, but my son's only 13 at the moment, but I taught him to drive a long time ago. And I used
Again, East Texas.
East Texas, yeah. There's it makes me think about Duck Dynasty. And so there was one where they were teaching one of the younger girls to drive, and Jace, one of the uncles, takes her out and hands her the keys and says, "You've seen this done, right? Go at it." And that's pretty much the way I taught my son to drive. Like, we got in the truck, I was like, "This is the brake, this is it. You've seen it done, knock yourself out." And we just drove around the pasture for a couple of hours. Pretty relaxed. Not a lot of stress in that, I would hope.
I have another one if you're interested.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
This one's work related.
Okay.
So we were going to do a naturalistic study studying combat veterans. We wanted to put devices on them to capture, naturalistically when, these hyperarousal events happen. So we traveled with a group of veterans who were bicycle riding in one event. And we were invited to Vice President Mike Pence's house, Naval Observatory, to demo the application, go with the veteran. So I brought with me a team of graduate students. We had a sample of 50 subjects to study. So in our hotel lobby, we had all these things, sensors kind of laid down, lots of wires, lots of things. And we had a few FBI calls on us and police calls because we were very close to some sensitive places. And, it looked very suspicious what we were doing there.
See, ergonomics is fun.
That's right.
It's totally fun.
That's right.
So I think we've got a pretty good idea. I mean, you're obviously very passionate about this, so it's easy to speak about it. But where do you see this going in the future? What are your next steps?
I think the next wave of technologies that I would probably touch are going to be related to AI, artificial intelligence, and advances in machine learning and deep learning. It's probably going to have a significant impact in the kinds of things I do right now. I think my skills may not be needed in 10 years, but then by that time, I would have emerged into a new field to kind of complement the current capabilities. It's so fascinating and it's so exciting what's going to happen with wearable technologies, with injectables, with personalized medicine and ubiquitous computing. We're going to have to see a lot more smart things around us that could measure things for us and much more informed decisions, data-driven decisions in medicine. Remote monitoring is a big piece of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the lowest hanging fruit right now, to at least take care of people who don't take care of themselves, which unfortunately is a problem in rural areas, in underserved areas. So we're trying to crack that nut right now. Yeah. Even at Texas A&M, we have big programs that are designing injectable sensors size of a grain of a rice that replace CGMs, continuous glucose monitors for diabetes monitoring. So we're not that far. I mean, these are coming, these technologies, and they're so fascinating. I think the challenge is going to be, again, data analytics side of it. Once you have that much data, how do you make it into knowledge?
Right.
How do you feed that into decision making? Because at some point, those medical professionals are going to get overwhelmed with this data.
Well, and if you really look at even we as regular people, consumers, if we were to really look at all the data that is collected every day just on us, it is totally overwhelming. I mean, location data and watch data and phone data and, going in and out of the building data and it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And we don't know really what's important for our long-term health. And we don't know what to do with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't even have to be data. It's the options nowadays with digital offerings. Like there's an app fatigue going on for almost anything you want. There are hundreds of apps and people are lost.
Yeah.
Which one is a good one? All are rated really highly. And, so at some point you don't use any of them. That's the easiest solution.
It is funny that you bring that up. I meant to tell you this, but this morning I had to do some app updates. And as I was doing that, I was in the Google Play Store And the first thing that showed up as a recommended app for me was basically an app that takes a break from other apps. It's like basically take a break app. But I thought about the irony of that, about how I have to use an app to take a break from other apps.
Right.
But it does speak to this app fatigue. I mean,
Absolutely.
They're ubiquitous at this point.
Absolutely.
So you're expanding populations, right?
Yes.
You're expanding technology.
Yes.
You're doing it all.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
In research, you have to update yourself, reinvent yourself. New cycles are starting. That's why this idea of sabbatical was introduced.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how was that, and what'd you do, and where'd you go, and how do you feel coming back?
Of course, I came back more informed about new things I wanted to do. I visited new groups. I built some, relationships in rural health to do studies. I picked up interest in maternal health,
Mm-hmm.
and depression is a big deal. So we now kind of use those technologies for maternal health and monitoring,
Mm-hmm.
and that happened through these new connections I tried to build during my sabbatical. Plus, I learned a lot more about new areas I need to kind of build up on, because these new students, new waves of students coming to us, they have different needs. It's not even 5 years ago. They love machine learning, even though they have no training in it. So I have to train myself as well to be up to a point where I can call myself a mentor. I can meaningfully advise these dissertations, these students. So I spent quite a bit of time kind of building up and educating myself on some of these new methods.
Well, it sounds like it's time well spent, as any sabbatical should be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Well, if you'd like to work with Farzan and meet us here at the center, make sure you click on the links below and join us on LinkedIn. Also, check out our department website and our center website. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. We appreciate the time and appreciate catching up with you. It's
Thank
been
you
a while
very
since we've
much.
seen you.
Likewise.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.